The FinTech Times is here in Amsterdam, soaking up the energy of Money20 Europe 2024. We've been talking about the important thing of diversity and inclusion. Though the FinTech industry is known for being agile and innovative, its diversity problem really threatens its future. We've been talking to many people in the industry, trying to find out how they're promoting diversity in everything that they do, why it's important, and how we can build a future that we're proud of. Though we've started some fantastic conversation with companies, there have been several people who have declined to answer our questions. We won't name any names, but they've been noted. For those who did answer, let's see what they had to say.
The key is the inclusion bit, and here having the share of voice. We need to have the diversity of thought to be able to challenge ideas, assumptions, and that will help businesses make better decisions. That's ultimately what it's about. And that diversity of thought comes from having different lived experiences that are around the table being heard. Those lived experiences could be different because of gender, ethnicity, LGBTQ, different socioeconomic background, and disability, all sorts of aspects. And we prove time and time again that those companies that do embrace diversity and critically inclusion, not just looking at the stats, but how you bring those people to the table, how you hear the different voices, they ultimately outperform.
So as you can imagine, with being a female CEO, I feel a huge obligation to D&I. So we do a lot in MoneyHub to actually make sure we really do cover the ground that needs to be covered, because it's not about just having the policies in place and the goals, which I think we all have. I mean, MoneyHub definitely has the goals, but it's about actually when you welcome people into the organisation from different parts of the world, and different backgrounds, different cultures. You've also got to make them feel very comfortable, otherwise they can't thrive. So I think that's the biggest focus that we've put into our world at MoneyHub is genuinely making sure people feel very comfortable in MoneyHub, no matter where they've come from. And that's taken a bit of effort, actually. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's increasingly topical. I think the history of our business and the fact that we are made up of various different companies, we've got almost diversity built into our business. So we have a South African origin business, a business that was originated here, a business that was originated in Eastern Europe. So I think diversity within the business is huge. And then increasingly, or within the DNA of the business, I think our impact on the local society and environments and communities has always been important. One of our key values is changing lives, and we want to be able to change lives not only for our employees, not only for our customers, because we believe that actually the services that we're providing is actually giving access to financial inclusion, especially in some of the developing markets that we operate in. Those clients have never had access to banking, financial services. They've been very much from cash economies, and so giving them access to those experiences is hugely important. And then we also do quite a lot of work with the local communities. We sponsor sports teams, we do lots of charity events. And again, I think it's probably because we come from an emerging, developing countries perspective, but that concept of changing lives has always been a key part, and was probably one of the most impactful things that I noticed when I joined the business, in that it's a very purpose-driven organisation, and while we're all in here to build great businesses, actually within Paymentology, it's very much a part of the business about how do we positively impact the people that we're working with.
I think I'll start off with a proud stat that actually in London, so we're a sort of UK headquartered business, our headquarters are in London. In our London office, we have a statistic which I'm very proud of, which is that we have a 50-50 split between females and males, which I think is quite outstanding, especially in what historically has been quite a male-dominant world. Beyond that, we have our own Diversity and Inclusion Committee who meet bi-weekly and talk about what we can keep doing more of as we evolve. Mental Health Awareness Week was not long ago, and we did some really great stuff as a business and encouraged participation in sort of wellness activities and walks and yoga. We actually have Vault Wellness Days where once every 2 months we give the whole business the day off to just recharge, switch off. It's sort of mandatory to not do any work on those days, which is a really fantastic launch.
Diversity and inclusion has been a key focus of ours for a long time. Our president, Tracy Davies, who you also know, Polly, this is a center for her. So she started Rise Up over 6 years and now really focusing on the women aspect. We added Amplify as part of this, focusing on diverse members of the fintech community. Now this is the 4th iteration. That's continued to grow and get more and more attention. We get hundreds of applications. Less than 15% of people get into that program, and the stats on the other side is incredible. But that is a microcosm, and most of the world of Money 2020 doesn't get to see that part. That's special and a bit secluded. When we're talking about the stages, when Tracy started in the role of president of Money 2020, I believe that diversity on the stages was around 12%, give or take, for women. It's now over 45% across every single stage, big to small. And this year, I'm very happy to say that we have the most diverse stage that we have ever had in Money 2020 Europe's history.
I think a good DEI policy is really still based around the principles of a meritocracy. It's just looking past some of the characteristics of an individual, their race, their religion, their belief, their ability and such, and just looking at the core individual and making sure to hire, promote, and encourage people based on their actual skill sets.
I think it's part of our DNA. Not only do we have a fully female board of directors, but we have been very much focusing on closing the gender wealth gap. To give you an example, on our platform globally, less than 25% of investors are women. And the reality is women have a very different set of preferences in the way how they would like to manage their investing. So we are looking to build further products or offerings that can support the journey of a woman in terms of investing and managing their finances.
So I think for us, it all goes back to culture. Like I said, we're a remote company and we do that for the right reasons, and that means we can bring in anyone who wants to work in Insurance Lab and who we think are a good fit from across the world. We've got different hubs, but I think the diversity that brings, just in terms of the work that we do, is really important. So I mean, if you look at the industry that we're in, it can be quite I guess an old school industry when you think about audit, and there's a very much a type of a person that most companies wouldn't employ, or a lot of our competitors wouldn't employ. When you look at the people who work for us, it's very different. We have people coming from all walks of life, different people who would have had a career for 10, 15, 20 years and wanted to do an entire switch. And once we see the level of kind of critical thought, and if we think the person will come in and be a fit, then we love to bring in all of different kind of minds and people into the business.